everyone, it's Julia. I thought I'd pop on and actually show my face this week. So hi to all my new subscribers. I have been working at the flea market shop now for 2 weekends. We've been open 2 weekends. And for those of you that don't know, I have a little weekend flea market shop. We are open seasonally from Memorial Weekend through Labor Day weekend. And I'm up in Minnesota. We've had, like I said, 2 weekends and it's been going great. I'm just very happy with it. Things have been just a lot of different things have been selling, which is always fun, and it's so great to just see everybody back. I've had a few comments about people who don't have much luck with selling homemade at flea markets or even craft shows. You know, I've been doing this now. This is my 22nd year in this little shop, and it's certainly up and down. I think I have a couple advantages in that I have been here for so long that I have a lot of repeat customers. And also, I'm in Minnesota Lake Country, so we have a lot of tourists that come, and they come once, maybe for a couple weeks out of the summer, and they always seem to want to come to the flea market. And then also another thing that I think has really helped me with my sales, or I've had a whole new line of clientele, and that is from my upcycles. I started my upcycles during COVID when I just couldn't get some of my blanks, like my sweatshirts or my t-shirts and tank tops that I normally do. I just wasn't able to get them. And so that's when I really started hunting in thrift stores, and there was some yard sales that were still open during that time, and just garage sales, and I just looked for things that I could redo and upcycle or alter or just flip. And that like I said, really helped bring in actually a younger crowd. They just love it. They come here and they say, oh, you must be a new shop, and I say, no, I've been here 22 years. So that kind of tells me that I really needed a change or just a boost or an addition to what I normally sell. So that's been really fun. I'll have to say I like a mix of both my things that I buy new that I alter or put designs on, and my upcycled things. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about my summer plans for my videos. I'm busy in the summer like everybody. I do gardening, and I have a lot of family around in the summer, and and then my summer shop. So it's busy for me. And I really want to keep up with my videos. And so I think you're going to be seeing more of just what I do during the week. I'm just going to do little snippets of things I'm working on. And I might not even share the full process with you, but I'll give you my ideas of what I'm going to be doing and then show you the end result on that. And I think that's going to help me out a little bit, just so that I'm not reinventing the wheel at all. I'm just showing you what I'm working on to fill my shop, and yeah, just to have some fresh things in my little store, and also my Etsy shop. So that's my plan for the summer, and that's what you're going to find in this video. I'm just going to share basically a week with you and what I'm working on. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get to it. The first project I'm working on is a custom order for a customer. She brought in her jeans because the ones that I had didn't fit her, and she wanted something very similar to this pair. I'm using this patchwork strip that a viewer sent me. I just love this. It's on paper, so it's easy to work with. The paper removes easily. And I just opened up the side seam of her jeans, and I'm just going to insert that. And it also goes around the bottom. This is really fun. The original pair has 5 little flowers going up one leg, and also a flower on the back, one of the back pockets. So I'm going to do something very similar. Take it to my sewing machine first, and I'm going to stitch this going up and down each side. I'm at my sewing machine, and I wanted just to mention that I did open up my open arm, and I'm going to just slide those jeans over my open arm. I have my free motion foot on, and I'm using an all-purpose thread in a camel color. The thread is the same color as the stitching or top stitching on these jeans. So I'm going to get the jean underneath this, and then just show briefly how I'm going to stitch this on. I don't want to have to open up another side seam or anything, so that they're not going to lay flat when I sew this little this little colorful insert in. I'm getting the pants leg in there. I think I want to start at the top. So I'm just weeding it through here. I have my feed dogs dropped, and my stitch length automatically goes to 0 on this machine when I drop my feed dogs. Then I'm just going to take off. I know that this isn't going to be a perfectly straight seam, but there's going to be a lot of raw edges and different things on these jeans anyway, so it's going to be good. It's going to be okay. So I'm just going to be going down one side, and then I'll probably stop and then go back up and go down the other side. And I'm just going to continue on. I did get that stitched, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but my stitches aren't perfect either. When you free motion stitch, especially on a, I don't have a stitch regulator, so some of the stitches get a little bit longer than others. It's okay. I'm just going to give myself grace on that. They turned out really cute, I think. So now we're going around the bottom with the same patchwork fabric. Now notice how this is the one I had, and I serged both ends of this that goes around the bottom, and I left the vent. So this vent is on the inside of the pants leg, and it just goes all the way around this insert that I put on. Just really simple and easy, but I have to set up my serger. So I'm going to do that next. And so I'm just going to cut enough to go around and serge both ends. And then I have another project that I have to use my serger as well. So I'll probably jump into that project before I put my serger away. I finally got my serger set up. I usually tie off my threads, and one of them broke, and sometimes they're more work than what they're worth. But I haven't sewed with this serger it's been several months. So it's good to get it out once in a while, get it oiled up. And I'm just, like I said, just going to serge down each of these sides. Already did this first one. Just easy peasy. Here's the second project that I was talking about that I also want to use my serger for. These are the ribbing on the bottom of some sweatshirts, and I cut that band off and did something different to the bottom of the sweatshirts, but I saved these because they make wonderful headbands. I've already have them stitched, or I have them cut. I cut them at 18, 19 inches, and then I seam, and then I like to decorate, just put like this one's got a flower. I just use little scraps of lace and just different things I have. And then I do like to take this to my serger and serge this edge just so they're still stretchy and they work really well. I cut these in different sizes. Some of them are a little bit smaller for little girls, and they actually make really good non-slip headbands, and they're cotton, so they're just great for running and that type of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to my serger and just serge each one of these. Headbands are all done. The serger really gives them a nice stretch. It doesn't pop the seams or anything. And now it's back to my regular sewing machine again, and I'll be stitching the bottoms of this on. And what I'm going to do, similar to the one I previously did, I just laid the finished edge on top and stitched it. I'm going to do the same with that. And then again, leaving this side seam open, and I'm just going to turn that under and then stitch a little lace. I'm going to just kind of dig up some scrap lace. I don't think I have this pink anymore, so it'll have to be something different. But that's going to be really easy to do. So I'm going to get that done. And then it's on to making the little flowers, and I'll show you how I'm going to go about doing that as well. I attached the bottom, and added a lace. Just really think they turned out really cute. And now it's for the flowers. And I looked at the original ones, and I've got a total of 5 flowers going down one leg, and then none on the other leg, but one on the back. So I'm going to do the same with that. I'm going to be doing 6 of the flowers. I'm going to be using my Sizzix Big Shot for this. The die that I'm going to use is flower layers and leaf number 2. And this is the Sizzix die 660403. I'll link something down below. I don't know if this is still available or not. So many of my dies are just really old. But if I can find it, I'll link it for you. And it does have several different little, designs on here. I am going to use this for the center of the flowers. And then this is the one that I used on the other one. For the flowers themselves, I have just some scraps of this patchwork. Just want to make sure that I can cover the whole thing. I think just 2 off of this piece. Yeah, this might be too small. Oh, maybe not. I think I can get 1 off of that one. And then 1 off of this one. So that's a total of 4. I need 2 more. I'm just going to cut a little bit more out of this one. Let's see. Probably about right to here. Just going to leave the paper on for the cutting, then I'll remove it. Okay. Looks like I got more than 2 sheets here. I'm just going to make my sandwich and then run it through. And this one didn't quite cut. I don't know what happened there, but just take my scissor and help it along. It just turned out so cute. I'm going to do one more run through with the circles. I'm laying the flowers on this leg, and I'm thinking only 4. This happens just to be a little bit shorter than the other one, so I'm only going to put 4 down the front. And then I'm laying these circles on, and just realize they're a little bit big too. I'm going to cut the circles down a little and pin everything on, and then back to my sewing machine. And I'm going to stitch these on using free motion, and I'm going to put the pants leg just under my open throat on my machine, just like I did my other one. I'm starting out in the center. The feed dogs are dropped, and I'm just going to go in a spiral in the center. And then go around each of the petals. I'm using the same colored thread. It's like a tan colored thread, similar to the stitching on here. And here's an overview of what they look like, all finished. I've been looking for a while for a granny square Afghan. Just had an idea of putting the squares on t-shirts and tank tops and hats, and just kind of have a display of them. And I found this one last weekend at the flea market, and I love the colors. And it's very large, and so part of this I'm going to just keep as an Afghan. And then I cut a couple rows off of it. It was stitched so, I mean, somebody put a lot of work into this. The stitches were tiny, the joining stitches. So I just picked them all, and a bunch of the squares I did get loose. So what I want to do, I'll show you what I bought. I got a batch of these t-shirts and then just some black tank tops, some bucket hats out of denim, and then I did too get a bag. This is just a called a field bag. It's very sturdy canvas. And I'm just going to be putting, like I said, those squares, just one square on each one. To attach these, I'm going to just use a 505 temporary adhesive, spray it on the back. I have a box that I'm going to put them in and then spray them that way. And then just stick them right on the fronts. I'm not going to show you, this is going to be basic stitching. I'm just going to use my straight, just a straight stitch and just stitch around each one. But I'll show you the display at the end. And here's what the final granny square display looks like. It's right in the front of my booth on a little table. I really like how the bucket hats turned out. I did put a peace sign in the center of each of the squares. And I got those from a piece of fabric, and I just cut the little circles out on this piece of fabric that I've had. I did decide to go with the granny square afghan that I had left, and I'm going to just sell that right in the display. I also put some of the granny squares in my patches. I sell my little patches, and I thought that they might, they're making good additions. Somebody else can pick them up I sell them for $4 on my patches, and can put them on whatever hat or bag or whatever that they might have. And on the back side, I do have my tank tops as well as another little bucket hat. Something very unique. I'm sure it's going to grab some attention anyway. I don't know if they're going to be great sellers or not, but I just think they're just retro and fun. The next project that I'm going to work on, I'm going to make some pillows. I already stitched around them, so I put the right sides together, stitched around, and then turned them and pressed them, and left an opening at the bottom of one of the sides. I received these upholstery samples from a viewer, and they're so beautiful, and some of the colors just went together, and so I went and just paired them up with colors that were somewhat similar. And then what I thought I was going to do on these is I had a bunch of 16 by 16 inch pillow inserts like this, and they were just taking up a lot of room in my sewing room. So I thought I was going to just make the squares so that they would fit a 16 by 16. Just a really simple project, but I thought they'd make a nice addition to my little summer shop, and they take up space, so I'll be able to put them on maybe a shelf up high or something and just fill up an empty spot in my little building. The only thing I have left to do on these then is to stick the insert in and then stitch up the opening, and I might hand stitch the opening or maybe do it on my machine, but I'll probably do that this weekend when my shop is open and I'm just sitting here, and it just gives me something to do. That's it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye for now.